Let's say you built an AI agent. It reads Notion, posts to Slack, queries a database, and updates Salesforce. And it's not just you using it. Alice, Bob, Charlie, they all run it. Same agent acting for each of them using their user tokens inside real business systems. It works. But every action this agent takes leaves two questions hanging. The agent authentication question, who is calling the agent tools, and the authorization question, what are the agents allowed to do? Is the agent acting on behalf of an authorized user with that user scope with a full audit trail behind it? This is where most agents break down in production, because most teams choose service account to answer these questions. At first, one shared credential for everyone seems like a viable solution, and it even works. But that's a trap, because that credential usually has org-wide scope. It can read, write, delete across the whole workspace. That's pretty broad blast radius. With service account, when your agent does something, there's no trail back to which user triggered it and no way to limit it to what that user was actually allowed to do. The risk isn't that the agent can't act, it's that it can act as anyone with no audit. Unintended over-authorization is the problem. And when you try solving this with the right approach, the math turns against you fast. Every user needs their own credential for every tool they touch. 3 users and 4 tools is 12 credentials. 100 users and 10 tools is 1,000. Each needs to be issued, refreshed, rotated, and revoked. Worse, every tool does auth differently. Different protocols, token lifetimes, refresh rules, scopes. No standard. So you rebuild the same plumbing slightly differently for every connector, burning sprints that add nothing to your core product and leave tech debt behind. Anyway, those are the two problems that break agentic systems at scale. Thousands of credentials to manage and no consistent auth layer across the tools. Scalekit solves both. Scalekit sits between your agent and every tool it calls. One MCP Gateway that handles identity, per user scoped access, tool calling, and the audit trail behind every action. Your agent talks to one layer. Scalekit talks to everything else. Let's understand with an example, Deal Summarizer Agent. A sales representative pulls up an account and the agent builds the summary. It fetches deal stage and value from HubSpot, meeting highlights from Granola, and the relevant Gmail threads. One summary, 3 systems. All running with that representative's own access, not a shared key. Here's how that maps in Scalekit. HubSpot, Granola, and Gmail are pre-built connectors that you pick off the shelf. In the Scalekit dashboard, you set each connector once with your credentials and scopes. Then, every sales rep authorizes their own connected account. Their tokens are tracked individually, refreshed automatically, and isolated from everyone else's. That's access per person. But that's only half of it. You can also scope by purpose with a virtual MCP server. A virtual MCP server declares exactly which tools your agent is allowed to touch. For the Deal Summarizer agent, that means reading deal data from HubSpot, not editing it. Reading a Gmail thread, not sending mail. The agent sees only the tools you explicitly allow. Nothing else exists for it. You define one virtual MCP server per agent type. The Deal Summarizer gets it set. A support triage agent gets a completely different one. Define it once and the whole team reuses it. Point an agent to the virtual MCP server, and before each run, Scalekit mints a session token to access that toolset, one header to plug into whatever you're building on, a custom agent loop, or any MCP-compatible framework. Every action your agent takes lands in one audit log. Which agent, which tool, on whose behalf, and whether policy allowed it. Stream it to your SIM or export it for SOC 2, completely up to you. There are hundreds of customers already using Scalekit in production. For instance, Vaughn builds AI agents for revenue teams. Their agents act across Salesforce, Gong, Google Drive, and more on behalf of every customer. They have already added about 40 to 50 connectors to their agent and are scaling on demand by tapping into our pool of 500 plus connectors.
So that's the shape of it. One layer for identity, tokens, and tool calling. You built the agent, Scalekit handles auth and connections. Visit scalekit.com.